the way we met is I had been in the Europe semester, and a lot of the guys that traveled with me lived near you. And you got to know me through my friends that I went to Europe with.
So did we date during that when you were in college?
No, not at all.
Wow.
I actually had another boyfriend, so yeah.
Which I later advised that she should drop him. No,
You did, and I did.
We went to a movie. We saw, of all movies, we went and saw Annie Hall. And oh, by the way, I was late on my first date with Pam.
Which is so unlike Ken.
Not very characteristic of me.
He showed up 45 minutes to an hour late, so we had to go to a different movie. We sat out front of my parents' house where I lived and talked until about 2 in the morning.
Wow.
It was great.
We started dating April 1st of 1978.
April Fool's Day.
And we were married November 24th of the same year.
Well, I remember it was a rainy day. It was a Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. And I remember getting up. My brothers were, obviously they had come in from out of town, and I had a really special time with my brothers. And I was very excited. I was not nervous about getting married, but I was sort of reflective because I was leaving Southern California where I grew up, and we were going to be living up in the San Francisco Bay Area.
For me, I remembered how terrified I was to forget my lines. I thought, man, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to flub all these things. I'm going to get them, the vowels all messed up and everything. And so, in fact, during the ceremony, she knew I was so nervous. She leaned over me, she said, calm down, under her breath.
As you know, I served as your best man. It's the first wedding that I really participated in, and it was a privilege to stand at the head of the aisle with you, Ken. One of my duties as best man was to give a toast. The Lord led me to use the Aaronic priest blessing from Numbers chapter 6. I said this: the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Look around you at this room. Look at all the people that are in your life. The Lord, he's kept his promise. He has really blessed you to a lot. And so may the Lord continue to do that for many, many years to come. Once again, congratulations, 40 years. It's tremendous. It's an honor to be with you tonight. And I pray the Lord's blessings would continue upon you.
We're here to celebrate Pam and Ken's 40th wedding anniversary. And it all began in the fall of 1978. Ken had asked Dale for Pam's hand in marriage. And Dale replied, don't you think you should wait until spring or summer? And they both said no, and they reminded him that he had only been going with Nancy since the end of August and was married December 1st. So he didn't have much of an excuse. Dale and I didn't wait. We were married December 1st for 65 years, and I hope that this marriage lasts as long, if not longer.
Well, when I'm thinking of, and you and I still reflect on it, is on our honeymoon, where it's a sunny November day, we're married, we're driving up the California coast, it's beautiful, and we're listening to a cassette of Al Stewart. And to this day, when we hear those Al Stewart songs, we just both, it just always evokes such sweet memories.
She comes out of the sun in a silk dress, running like a watercolor in the rain. Don't bother asking for explanation, she'll just tell you that she came in the year of the cat.
another memory for me is I think our yearly vacations that we would take. I mean, that is such a blessing for me.
Another special memory is when I found out I was pregnant. At first, it was a panic because it was like 2 years before we thought we were. But I mean, within just a matter of, like, almost later that day, the same day, we suddenly were like on board with this. And that was really exciting.
Happy 40th anniversary, Ken and Pam. No doubt you've weathered your share of marriage storms to get this far. Congratulations on 40 years of persisting. And thank you for being such a good example of marriage to everyone around you.
Yeah, congratulations. I didn't realize 14-year-olds could get married. But okay, it was the 70s, so 40 years. I want to thank you for what you've contributed to us as members of the same church. Pam, your excellent Bible studies, and Ken, your many years of serving as an elder. But there's also a lot we know you've done behind the scenes that most people will never know about. But we've been a better congregation because of you, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Ken and Pam. We are so excited to be able to share with you in the celebration of your 40th wedding anniversary. We thank God for your commitment over all these years and also for your obvious and deep love for your family. May God bless you with an abundance of years ahead as you serve together and you serve one another.
And I guess to confess that 40 years, y'all are not old enough to be there 40 years. And then I pulled out your Christmas card and saw Kyle and Nicole and thought, yeah, I guess they are. So we have just really enjoyed meeting the full range and appreciating the legacy that has been laid down by your parents and for you, and just the way that you serve, and just the joy that you have and the joy that you extend to so many people. And we just appreciate being involved and asked to be a part of your 40th celebration. God bless.
I was kind of suspicious that I was going to have to move or find a new job. And that was not a very pleasant prospect because I was married to a fourth or fifth generation Californian, whatever, how many generations? Third generation California girl. And I thought, this is not going to go very well. And so I ended up thinking, well, you know, we need to talk about this. So I went home, I said, I think they're going to offer me a position, but it's going to be on the East Coast. And I mentioned that to Pam, and she said, oh, I don't know how we're going to do this. I better, she ended up talking to her mom, and her mom goes, you know, you have to do what you have to do. If you have to move.
Well, she said, if that's what God is calling you to do, that's what you need to do. But the interesting thing about it is, I actually was not as devastated as I normally would have thought I would be, because after losing one of my best friends to breast cancer 2 years before, I sensed God was preparing my heart for a big change. So the Lord had been going before us, and so I don't know.
I came home and I told the kids, I said, you know, we're going to have to move to the East Coast. I said, this will be the biggest challenge you have to face up to now in your life, but we can do it together.
Hi, Pam and Ken.
Hi,
We're here
Pam and Ken.
in front of the fire because we think that there's warmth in marriage.
So shortly after we came to Savannah Park EP, we became part of this little group that included Mike and Susie Kennard, the Carlson Teases, the Pricketts, and the Goods.
Yeah.
And before we knew it, our name was the Barefooters. And before we knew it, we were at the Kennards watching Barefoot in the Park together.
I can't remember if we were really in our bare feet or not. I think maybe we were.
I think we actually went barefoot.
Yes, and it was really fun. And we wanted to thank you for being part of that group because it helped us integrate into the church.
And want to wish you a happy, happy anniversary, and looking forward to many years of sharing your courage and your strength in the future.
I remember all the fun times that we had on Thanksgivings and Christmases when all of our kids were little, and the great times that we would have getting together. I remember many ornaments that you shared. This is one ornament right here. So I have many good memories of fun times spent with both of you and your extended family, and look forward to many more good times.
We remember many good times with Ken and Pam over the years. A lot of them were on our boats.
And I remember many times on the Boston Whaler, and Pam and Ken were such good sports and would go with us on the Boston Whaler. She would sit right next to Richie on the back seat with her hands clasped under the seat, and I think there were impressions in the wood from Pam holding on so tightly. And Pam, it was amazing, and Ken was such a good sport too for going with us.
And I'll never forget the time that we went out and the boat ran over a bag or something, and the outdrive didn't work properly, so I didn't know what to do, but Pam muscled her way up to the pilot seat and took over the boat and gave orders and got us safely home that night.
Well,
so we just remember so many times. They're our very special friends. We wish them all happiness and love.
We love you guys. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Well, we have Nicole, our firstborn, and then 3.5 years later, we had Kyle. And, the thing I love about Nicole, she is determined and she rises. So many times in her life where she would feel insecure about herself or wouldn't have confidence, and then when she sets her mind to something, she does it. In 8th grade, where she just blossomed, and then she found out we were moving to Maryland and she was devastated, but she came out here and again she just rises to the occasion.
For Kyle, he is equally as special to us, and always has been. And I think back on some of the growing up, it may surprise you, but he's a perfectionist, and he walked late in his life. I mean, I think it was like 16 months old or 17 months old before he walked, but I'm convinced that even at an early age, he would refuse to walk unless he could do it perfect. Another story that was surprising to me is whenever we were first moved out to Maryland, we were driving someplace and he looked up to me and said, "Dad, keep in mind I'm a big baseball fan. Dad, I'm not going to play baseball anymore." And immediately I gripped my heart and I said, "You're going to give me a heart attack. What are you saying? You don't want to play baseball? You're so good at it." And he said, "No, I want to concentrate on soccer." And I said, whatever you do, if you want to play baseball or want to play soccer, I'll support you in that and I'll be there for you. And so every time we would go down and look at
You're getting all choked.
every time we'd look at these kids playing baseball at Savannah Park Middle School, I'd say, "Well, look at all those kids having fun out there playing baseball, and don't you ever want to play baseball, Kyle?" And he'd say, "No, Dad, I want to play soccer." So that's what he does. He plays soccer, and I appreciate that.
We have shared many fun times and great memories with Ken and Pam. And one of our favorite things to do is game night, just a simple game night. And one of them is our vintage Trivial Pursuit game. We always play men versus women because, it's a lot more fun that way. And us ladies tend to kind of think more alike than the men do.
This is really quite eerie to the men. For example, let me read you the question. What's the only man-made structure visible from space? Well, the girls will huddle together and they'll start, humming, or they'll start coming out with different facts. Generally, you'll hear music like from the Twilight Zone. And they're working around, and all of a sudden, without any connection at all, someone jumps up and says, "The Great Wall of China." How do they do that?
Girls.
How do they do that?
But then there's Ken on the boys' team.
Ah.
It's their turn. Ken is definitely the trivia king.
He's the guy.
And he's an asset to the male team. This is one of our fun things to do with really good friends.
Happy 40th, Pam and Ken. We appreciate you, your sense of humor, your love of life, your allegiance to the Lord, and being our good friends. It is amazing to have friends for that many years, and we are so blessed by you both.
Happy anniversary and many more to come.
During a trip to Yellowstone as a family, we were aware of the stated dangers of the bison and coming too close to them. A number of very serious injuries happen in Yellowstone every year because people approach these animals too closely. So while we were driving in our caravan of cars, we stopped to view one of these majestic creatures. And our sister Pam jumps out of the car and walks very close to the buffalo to get a picture. In her mind, the bison was dangerous, but the buffalo was just fine. Most of us sat in the car in shock as we watched her approach the buffalo. She took her picture near the buffalo and walked back to the car. When she got back, she was met by, "Are you crazy?" Those kind of comments. She didn't understand at first. I mean, after all, it was only a buffalo and not a bison. We explained to her that they were one and the same. And then the realization began to sink in.
Why do we bring up this story? Well, we appreciate Pam and Ken. We really are happy that they're together and that the bison didn't change all of that years ago. And Ken is probably very confident that Pam will never approach a bison
or a buffalo again. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Pam.
Happy anniversary.
And Ken, 40 years, that is something else. We are so excited to be here to celebrate with you today.
Ken, K is for kindness. You are very kind to your family and everyone you encounter. E is for enjoyment. You enjoy your family immensely. And N is for no guile with anyone.
We love that about you, Ken. Pam, I want to start with the first letter of your name, P, and I think immediately of all the times we've prayed together and how prayerful you are. And when I call you to this day and ask you to pray, I know you're on it. I love that about you, Pam. The A reminds me of how you are always a servant to your family, to your friends, and especially to Jesus. I love that about you too, Pam. The M reminds me of the memories we've made together over the years, and this is one special one I want to show you. When we went to St. Michael's to celebrate our joint birthdays, and I bought this with you, and I put it up every Christmas. I love it, and I love you. Happy anniversary.
A huge thing in our life, or a wonderful memory to both of us, was when our children came to know the Lord, and then they ended up marrying these wonderful spouses. I mean, Nicole married Brian and Kyle married Julia, and both of our in-law children know the Lord, and they cherish our children
and our grandkids.
And now,
oh my gosh.
Our grandkids.
I mean, we are so thrilled with our grandkids.
Well, we have Dear Jackson, our first, and he's 8, and then Kaylin is our next grandchild, and she is 6 years old, and we just love her so much. And then, well, in the Miller clan, then comes Addie, who is 3 years old, and both our girls, oh, we just love them. They bring such joy in our lives. Then Kyle and Julie have Caleb, who is 4 going on 8, and then little Cora, who's 18 months old, and just keeping up with everybody. And
are you ready?
Yeah.
Pam, you are exceptional in all things. Pam, practically perfect in all things. You have lovingly challenged me to be a better husband, father, and grandfather, as well as encouraged me in my walk with Jesus. All these things have defined me as a person.
well, Ken, you balance me. I need you so badly in my life. The Lord put you in my life. You are one of the greatest blessings He's ever given me. You're the perfect partner for me. You know how to slow me down and how to encourage me. You are such an example of the Lord's love for me. I feel like He loves me. One of the ways the Lord loves me is through you, and I appreciate it so much. And you know what? You still make my heart flutter. I tell you, when I know you're coming home, I see your car pulling up, my heart still flutters, and I love you so much. And you are one of my greatest treasures.